Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the McDonCast,
the
funnest podcast in town. Why are you not knowing half the words?
Out of breath.
Okay, Patrick had to leave because he was tired. He was here. We just filmed a thing, but he's tired.
It's gamer time.
What is that? What is that?
That's my cool catchphrase.
That's
What?
Nothing. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again.
Max remain on the show.
All right. Okay.
Hey,
there we go.
my-
The mic
my
was a little
reviews are
loud
more-
there
Is
for a
Max's
second.
loud?
No, mine was loud.
Oh, okay.
There we
My
go.
reviews are more cool
All
than
right.
Patrick's.
So yeah, we got a Pat review coming. That's what we filmed.
Well, maybe.
Maybe
So-
we might have to refilm that one. It's a little messy.
Yeah, as of recording
Patrick's
this,
tired,
we just came
so-
back from
Thor,
Love
Love
and
and
Thunder, which
Thunder.
we're gonna talk about in a second.
Oh yeah, we're mixing up the formula a little bit from now on, guys. We're gonna do our best to put the reviews first, since we're fresh. We're ready to think at the beginning. Usually, as some of you probably know, by the end we're usually pretty tired and we don't have coherent thoughts to say. So we're gonna be saying those at the beginning from now on.
Yes.
Because the news, we can just sort of blab about.
Because we're hot and ready, like a Little Caesar pizza. We're all ready to go.
That's our new catchphrase. It's gonna
No.
be McDonCast, the
okay,
most
okay.
hot and ready podcast.
So
in
you
town.
guys get a new catchphrase, but I can't say gamer time.
Max, that doesn't mean anything.
I wish we could. Is there a way to just remove him from the show, just like digitally and like
Just-
post?
Well, we just put a block over where Max is.
It's just
Hey,
a big
I
blur.
do a lot of.
Whenever he talks, we put the Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah.
Well, we keep it in. We don't take it out. We leave it in.
Yeah, we just
But
replace
it's
it
just
with. Anyways,
Okay. Yes. This is gonna be a very tired show.
much like the last
It's
one.
very late when we're recording. We normally record these late, but not usually this.
Yeah,
late.
well, this is an especially late.
This
one.
is we're gonna be up till about 2 a.m. episode.
Yeah, sorry guys, stream's gonna be late tonight.
But hey, it's episode
you'll know.
70,
That'll happen
so-
before this comes out.
Okay. Anyway.
Hey,
Before we do anything else, Sam, what are we going to talk about this week?
Before we get started, here's a brief rundown. We got our Thor: Love and Thunder review. We got a different God of Thunder and stuff thing to talk about with the God of War.
A different guy.
We got Rockstar doing probably nothing still. We got GameStop stock again. We got Sega in the TV news this time. The Stranger Things folks are doing a bunch of random things. We'll talk about that. Nextstars buying CW because they hate themselves. We got movie trailer for a movie that I haven't heard a single person ever heard about. James Cameron is saying stuff about Avatar. We got so many newses for you
and
guys.
at the very end, maybe we'll talk about Stranger Things.
Yeah, we might wait on that one for Patrick to finish the show. Obviously, the finale was like 4 hours long, so he hasn't finished it yet.
Anyway, Sam, let's start off with our thoughts on the newest Thor movie, Thor: Love
lightning
and
and
Thunder.
hate.
Very funny, Max.
I'm a hilarious guy because
So-
it's gamer time.
Okay.
It's the fourth Thor. Taika Waititi is back to direct and co-write this time,
And he's a funny rock guy.
and he's also, of course,
He also plays
in
the funny
movies
rock man.
Korg. Sam, what did you think of Thor: Love and
I
Thunder?
think this is the third best movie in Phase 4, behind Spider-Man and Shang-Chi.
How many have there been now? 6?
How many? Yeah, wait.
I think 6.
Does
No,
Black
there
Widow
might-
count?
No, 6.
What about Black Widow?
If you don't count shows, there's been 6 movies in Phase 4.
Okay, this is wrong. Google says 1. Google,
yes,
you are
it's
very
1, guys.
dumb. Why are you so dumb, Google? Be
So,
smart like me.
Yes, it's
okay.
been Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange, and Thor.
So 5.
As we go into Comic-Con, we've actually wrapped up. Now, as of Thor coming out, everything they announced at the last Comic-Con,
Well, we still have
Is
Wakanda
that-
Forever coming out, so we'll see.
that's the only other thing.
Yeah, that's the last part of this phase.
But anyway, so in this movie, Chris Hemsworth is back as Thor Odin's son,
And he's buff again.
and Natalie Portman is back as Jane Foster, the Mighty Thor now.
She says that twice.
Not against cancer, though.
She keeps saying that's her name, but they never established that's what she's been calling herself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she like expects other people to know that that's what
Yeah.
she's called, but never does she announce that like they never make it clear that that's her distinguishing title.
Yeah,
from
and
Thor.
also,
She's also only been Thor for like a day. So.
yeah, she was only Thor for like 2 weeks.
I also noticed that Gore never tells them his name, and yet they call him Gore. And they have
No,
reason to
because
know that.
Sif, I think, calls him Gore.
Does Sif call him Gore?
Yeah.
I think she just calls him the God Butcher, though.
At some point, someone says his name while they're getting it out.
We have the remaining Thor supporting cast because they keep dying.
Yeah, the few that are left of the Thor supporting cast.
Which is weird. It's weird that this out of the 3 core Avengers,
Thor has had literally all his friends.
He's had
die.
the most movies, and yet he has the smallest supporting cast.
Yeah,
they keep
because Odin is dead, Loki is dead. Who else? Asgard is gone. Heimdall is dead. The Warriors 3 are dead. His sister is dead.
Yes.
He basically only has Valkyrie.
His mom is dead.
Bruce Banner's not in this one.
Bruce Banner's not here. And I guess, spoilers, other characters do die. We'll talk about that towards the end.
Towards the end. Okay. So, basically, this movie, it's... okay, so in Thor Ragnarok, what happened was they were already doing Thor 3.
Yeah.
And then Taika Waititi came on board early on, and I'm not sure he did, but I think he wrote the script for Thor Ragnarok himself.
Yeah, I thought he did.
And he directed it. And this one, he co-wrote it, and he also directed this one. And it's weird, because this one feels more like a Taika Waititi movie than the last one did, in that it's obvious that there was just so much improv and the actors goofing around and doing bits.
It's a very goofy Marvel movie. It's almost a parody of a Thor movie.
Thor Ragnarok was really sad and depressing, but with a little jokes in there. This one was completely opposite.
Super goofy.
Every scene's got at least 3 jokes in it.
The stakes are supposedly really high, but you don't really ever feel that, which I think is a problem with this one.
Yeah, so
it's a little too light. It's a little too light and fluffy.
I think the villain. Right. Okay, number one, Christian Bale as the villain. I thought he did a really good job as the character.
Yeah. But Christian Bale can't really.
He doesn't really mess up often.
Yeah.
But the actual villain Gore does almost nothing.
Yeah,
he's introduced where he kills that sun god or whatever, and that's cool. And then we're told that he kills some other gods. He kills a big mole person.
We don't really see it.
We never see it. We know he injures Lady Sif, but again, we don't see it. Who's back again? She's always in it for one scene, and then
she wasn't in the last one. She wasn't in Ragnarok because of contract
disputes.
And so Hela kills the rest of them, but not her because she wasn't there. And so everyone was like, I guess this character's alive. I guess
she's somewhere. But so we didn't see enough of Gore doing evil things for us to really feel like he was super, because he kidnaps all these Asgardian kids towards the beginning of the movie. And when he's sort of threatening them, he's like, oh, I'm going to cut off someone's head. So instead of, cutting off one of the kids' heads, which is what you would expect the villain to do, he just spawns a little creature and then pulls its head off to scare the kids. But it's okay, well, I don't really care about the worm you just made. Yeah. Who cares about that?
I think this movie's one of its biggest problems is that it takes this really, really light, goofy tone with Gore, who is this horrible, demonic killer man.
He looks way scarier than he is.
He has a great screen presence.
Yeah, you feel his pressure when he's on screen, but because you haven't seen him do anything super evil, he's really not even a bad guy.
He only kills gods.
He only kills that we see one god who we knew was a jerk anyway. So who cares if that guy's dead? So really, he's not even that much of a villain.
We know he kills 2 at least, but he obviously kills more.
He kidnaps all the kids, but that's just to get Thor's attention. He doesn't even do anything to them.
But what I was saying, he has a great screen presence, but he does not have a great presence in the story.
Yeah.
He's not very impactful throughout the movie. We start off with him.
He's very much a means just to get Thor to go do stuff.
We set him up at the beginning, and then there's a big fight at the end. But he doesn't do a whole lot during the meat of the movie. Yeah, that's mostly Thor and his buds
doing their
goofing
thing
around.
Yeah,
and,
Gore was really
hanging
just
their butts out and goofy
silly
stuff.
time. Yeah,
Gore was really just there to be a bad guy to fight. Most of this movie is Thor dealing with his own troubles or talking to Jane and dealing with that stuff. He's really not a huge part of the story except for to make Thor go do stuff.
Yeah, he's not it's strange that after just years and years of Marvel movies, and they've done so many of these, and they still haven't really fixed the villain problem they've had.
Not recently, anyways.
But like they've done a couple of really good ones, and then the other times they can't escape.
They seem to be pretty hit or miss with the villains.
The best one was Thanos, right?
Because
And that
he was
was
the most built up.
He basically had Infinity War was basically a Thanos solo movie.
Yeah, he had a story arc. That
so we had enough time with him.
Learn
Well,
about him.
he was the main villain of a whole saga.
Yeah.
So.
And we've had a couple other good ones. Ego in Guardians 2 was pretty good, but that was a lot of just Kurt Russell being very charismatic.
Yeah.
And then we've had
Killmonger was really good.
Killmonger was good, and Shang-Chi was his Wenwu.
Wenwu was good.
Wenwu was great.
Like
we get a couple every now and then, and we get more good ones recently than we used to in the older stuff. But it's always strange how this world is so built out now.
Yeah.
Like it's such a well realized like universe, and there's so many characters.
We know it so well at this point.
And yet the villains, and yet they keep falling into the trap of just like villain with one gimmick, and they just kill him at the end.
It's villain who is vague, like similar to hero, and then kill him at the end.
Yeah, kill him at the end.
The scale of the villains is also like really hard for Marvel to like.
Especially after Thanos.
Yeah,
it's really
to
hard
convey.
to make the stakes seem important when
Because
when the stakes before were every single
Yeah.
person dies in the universe.
Especially when the entire movie is filmed in a closet.
Yeah, the volume is very.
It's
distracting.
It's
if
not
you don't,
even that.
but
it's
if you
like,
don't think about it, it's not like horrible.
it's not even that. It's like it's obvious that these were all filmed with like massive COVID protocols,
Yeah.
which is not something. Obviously,
they
that's
can't
not-
control that.
They can't
yeah.
really control that. But it is a problem when it's obvious that every location isn't real.
Yeah.
Because then your stakes don't feel real.
Well, the world feels like a cartoon world.
Yeah, it all feels like you're in a Saturday morning cartoon.
Like especially in the fights where Thor's like jumping around and stuff. It looks like a rubber man is flying through the air.
Especially when the characters themselves are so comedic and cartoony.
Yeah.
They establish these universe-shattering stakes, and yet you're like, okay, but this is like
this guy's gonna kill the gods.
it's like if it was Bugs
Although-
Bunny. It's
Yeah.
like you're never gonna take it that seriously.
If he killed all the gods, nothing would really change.
Yeah.
Like
That's it. Again, the stakes were like a little bit off to understand. Like we know that Zeus at one point says, the gods only watch over their people, no more, no less. But then they're kind of not even doing that.
yeah, they don't even really care.
They're just kind of chilling on an island in
I mean,
space. So
yeah.
if they all died, we don't really know what the ramifications of that would be. Because, we've seen gods in the Marvel Universe die before. Odin's died, that didn't really affect a whole lot. Celestials have been killed.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to affect the universe
They've
that
also,
much.
like heavily retconned the whole idea of gods in this universe in general.
Yeah.
Because in the first Thor, I know it's a million years ago now, but in that movie they established that they were never really gods; they were just aliens, and they had such advanced technology that everyone just thought they were gods on Earth. But now we get to this one, and they're actual.
It seems like gods are almost like a species.
Yeah, there's just like a
Like
million.
when
of
they
them.
die, they go golden powdery.
Yeah.
We know that's the thing.
Then they bleed gold because way they can get a PG-13 rating and
Except
still
Thor
hack them all to
doesn't
pieces.
bleed gold, so
Doesn't he
Yes.
bleed?
because he bleeds in the
no,
first one.
he bleeds normal
He
blood.
bleeds in the other
Yeah,
ones.
I think he just
at
has-
different points.
So I
I
think
think.
does Loki at some point.
Loki definitely bleeds normal blood.
But all the other
But
gods.
he's a frost giant, so maybe that's different.
Well, I think it was only that one guy that bled gold.
No, because when they were killing all the guards, they were also gold blood was splattering everywhere.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because that way,
Well,
they
that's
could
so they can
do
have
blood
gruesome
everywhere
deaths.
and have it not be rated
Yeah.
R.
Anyway, speaking of characters, no one was, but we need to transition. So we are down to 4 main Thor characters.
Are we doing spoilers now?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, well, we're going to
okay.
talk about how many are
Would
left.
you recommend Thor for people to go see?
I think this is the most fun of the new phase of movies.
Yeah. I think this is really good just for like, oh, that's a Marvel movie.
It's just
we can
kinda
go
fu-
see it. Like that's fun. It's Thor.
It has enough going for it that it's a fun, like it's not a full turn your brain off movie, but it's like right in the sweet spot of I had a fun time, but I didn't feel like I just watched garbage.
It's a great movie for like if your friend doesn't watch Marvel movies to like go take him to that.
Yeah, if you
'Cause
have
it's
a
like,
friend who's passively into Marvel,
It's
doesn't
like a
really
fun-
follow everything, this is a good one to just, take your friends to go see.
Like, for example, the person next to me, like, I don't know if she's like a huge Marvel fan, but like, she was just like there, just laughing at the jokes and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to be huge.
Just
Like
having a
Doctor
good time.
Strange, you have to watch everything.
It's I would recommend it. There's not a lot of really good stuff out right now in the theater.
Yeah,
Minions
what else are you
is-
going to see? Minions?
But
No.
and there's also not a whole lot of stuff coming out for the rest of July. So if you want to go to the movies, it's not a long movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty brisk. It's fun. It's funny.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite
So
things.
I would recommend you go see it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about this movie is that it's not 3 hours long, because it easily could be, but it's like you're not just sitting in a chair, just like
You don't
watching
feel
it, just
no
like,
part of the
"Ugh."
movie is like boring enough that you
Yeah.
will feel like you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
All of it is. There's always something entertaining going on for you to enjoy.
Okay. Now we can move into spoilers. So I do want to talk about characters for a second because we have 4 main ones. We have main Thor, Jane Foster, who is now the mighty Thor, and we have Valkyrie and we have Korg. Valkyrie and Korg have very little to do, especially Valkyrie.
Yeah, Valkyrie.
Valkyrie
doesn't
really
have
just seems like
And-
she's there
yeah.
because, like, in the universe of the movie, she's there because she's basically bored and wanted to do
Yeah,
something.
and they set up at the start an arc for her where she's like not quite enjoying being king, and she's not a great leader, but she
No,
never
she's a
really
fun leader.
she never really grows, or at least there's no like real resolution.
we just didn't spend enough time with that situation
Well,
to
because
get a
we
good
see
grasp
at
of it.
the start of the movie, there's a scene where everyone's like panicking in the city hall,
And she's like leading
and
everyone.
she's like scrambling around, but then like everyone's like it's like a big crowd, and they're all
Yeah.
scared, and then Thor comes in and he like
Immediately takes charge.
and he takes charge of everything.
I thought that they were going to address that at some point.
I did too, but they
and
never really did.
Yeah, Thor, like, obviously he's the son of the old king.
Yeah.
Still garners a lot of respect, but she's been the king now for a while, a good
couple
few
years
years
at least, I guess.
Yeah, and like Thor just kind of immediately comes in and takes charge, and I thought that they were gonna use that as a moment,
Yeah.
like, and they almost did. There's a part where he like almost goofs up in his speech, but then he brings it back and
Yeah.
inspires the people. I thought maybe.
And he's also like a leader of the kids at a certain point.
Yeah, he's also like a hero to the people of the village. Like, his role as not the
Yeah.
king seems at this
So
point
really
kind of
forced.
bizarre.
Yeah.
He has nothing else to do.
Well, I think that's a consequence of the longevity of this. And that
Yeah.
there's all like every movie, it's a different
Because
person
the story
working on it.
never ends.
Yeah.
It gets to
No
the
one
point
can- yeah.
where it's almost confusing why characters are still doing the things they're doing.
Yeah. Because it was way foreshadowed at the beginning
Yeah.
of the Thor stuff that they were setting him up to eventually be the king. And like all of this other shenanigans was kind of him avoiding.
But then
that
they kind of
inevitable
curved around that in
Infinity
War and
Endgame.
Endgame, where he decides to pass the role on to Valkyrie instead,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. I mean, if that's the route they want to take. But then it seems like they're kind of backpedaling on it a little bit when
Yeah.
Thor just comes in and immediately takes charge.
He goes to find himself, but I don't think the creators knew what to do with him also.
Yeah, like what is
Thor as a character was lost, and the creators were kind of lost too because they want to keep him around.
and by the end of the movie, we know
We kind of get an idea.
we know what he's going to be doing from this point on.
Yeah.
Because I guess we already said spoilers. Spoilers. He takes on an adopted daughter at the end of the movie. So I guess now he's going to be doing dad
and
stuff. That's
just
going to
like
be his.
protecting random people.
So his role now is to be the father of this girl,
Yeah.
which fair enough, makes sense. That's what happens to all grizzled by myself warriors.
Although what would have made more sense is that Jane takes over, but then we already said she dies. at the
Yeah,
end of the movie.
Jane.
So it's like,
Yeah, Jane. Spoilers, I guess again. Succumbs to cancer because of the way that the Thor hammer interacts with her biology. Sort of makes it so she can't recover from the cancer, and she eventually dies.
Back to Valkyrie for a second, because it's again another different creators thing. Because in Endgame, which is written by Marcus and McFeely,
Yeah,
it's set up that she like is the leader of New Asgard and like wants to be king.
yeah.
But then when we go back to Waititi, obviously he isn't obviously
He had a
real
different
big,
vision for that character.
He's not a real big
Yeah.
fan of that idea, and so it's conflicting for the character. And again, there's no real resolution to that because they've already set her up to do this thing.
Yeah.
And it would be a cop-out if they immediately took her out of it.
Now, I could understand maybe from her character's point of view, I thought I wanted to be king, but then I realized it was kind of boring, and now I don't want to do it. But they don't really explore that idea very much, aside from a few lines of dialogue where she says she just wants to go fight stuff, which, I mean, that's fine. But it seems like they introduced a lot of ideas, and they were just limited by either a lack of like definite scripting or just maybe a time constraint. And but it feels like there were a few ideas that would have really benefited from just a little bit more time.
Yeah, and even like there's stuff they were like talking about before the movie came out at like Comic-Con and stuff. What they were gonna do with her.
Yeah.
Like they said she was gonna be looking for her queen because she's the king now. That's not in this
doesn't
movie
happen.
at all.
Yeah.
It's like it's obvious that there's like stuff that they throw on the table and then they just decide like last minute to just not do.
Yeah.
And then we have our other supporting characters. We have Korg, who's just comic relief. He's just there.
And that's fine. His
that's
character
fine.
was
Funny
always
guy.
comic relief. That's
And
fine.
then we have Jane, who is like again with a lot of the other stuff going from the old Thor writers to now Waititi is like way goofier and lighthearted than she was in the older stuff.
In my opinion, is an improvement because she was
Boring
boring
did
before,
nothing.
and now she at least has
something.
she has a driving motivation to do things. Before, she was just a character that just interacted with Thor sometimes and just kind of had to do whatever was going on just because Thor was like, hey, can you do this for me, please? And she's like, okay. But now that she's taking on the mantle of Thor, like she's taking on the role as the next Thor, she's looking up to Thor for like guidance as to like, how do I be a Thor? And most of it is played off as jokes. She's like trying to come up with a catchphrase or whatever. But yeah, I feel like that was another one of those things that I feel like just needed a little bit more time. We needed more time with him being like, here's what it means to be a Thor. But again, she is already worthy of the hammer, so I guess maybe we don't need that because she, I guess, already proved herself.
But my main problem.
Okay, wait. One of the things I don't understand is why did Mjolnir come back together for her, but like when Thor wants Mjolnir back, it doesn't just like repair itself?
I thought
I don't
they
know.
missed a really good opportunity for him to be like, it was destroyed, and then her go, did you try to pick it up? And him just go, oh, wait, no.
Yeah, that
And,
would
like,
have been a funny
The joke
bit.
would have been like, he could have just picked it
Yeah,
up.
he
and it
could have
would
picked
been
it up
fine.
and it would have fixed
I
itself
did-
and he just didn't do it. That would have been funny, yeah.
I think my favorite joke in this movie was that Stormbreaker just kept getting jealous that
Yeah, that was funny.
Thor liked his
they
hammer.
gave the hammers personalities.
I love that.
Which wasn't established before, but I think it's a super funny
Is
bit.
that the weapons
It was
of
like they're a
sentience?
tiny bit, but it wasn't like they
That
weren't
was,
sentient.
that was obviously like a Doctor Strange's cape is like that too.
Yeah,
And,
where it's like has a little bit of
and
a
they were like,
personality to it.
that's good. We should just
Because
translate
like
that over.
when Thor's in the room trying to like when all the people are frantic, and he's like talking about Mjolnir to Korg, and he's like, oh, that's a great hammer, and then Stormbreaker just creeps around the can. He's like, oh no,
floats
I
on
was talking about
screen.
you. Like that's
Yeah,
that's
like,
a
that's
great,
funny.
That was I love
No,
that
but
joke.
in terms of the character dynamics, this movie, the absence of Loki in particular is very felt
We just needed a straight man
because
there was no
yeah.
straight man to play
'Cause
off of.
all of our characters, except for sort of Valkyrie, but they're all goofy and like they're all goofy.
And even Valkyrie was a little bit more
Yeah.
goofy this time because like there was that bit at the beginning when she's like, I got all my gear,
Yeah.
and then Jane's like, what do you got? And she's got, I got this sword, I got these knives, I got
Yeah.
this.
They're
and
all-
she goes, what's that?
Yeah.
And she's like, a portable speaker. Boom. And then they dance for like 2 seconds, and then it just cuts to the next thing.
Yeah,
They all-
it was awkward.
They're all goofy and they go to like a lot of like silly places in this.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like silly stuff that happens, and they needed that character to.
They
be
needed
like,
someone to be
what's
like,
going on?
Yeah.
Why is this like this? Like in Ragnarok, that was
It
part
was
Loki, part Bruce
Bruce
Banner.
Banner. Yeah.
And that worked really well, especially the Thor Bruce Banner dynamic.
Because he's, a man of
was
science.
really
yeah.
it was really fun. But in this one, it's like they throw a lot of goofy stuff at you, but there's no one to like.
No one questions the goofy.
No one to like punchline it. No
I think
one to like
they-
have it
yeah.
hit really well. It just kind of keeps.
No
coming.
one is no one is caught off guard by the goofy.
Yeah,
Everyone
they just keep
immediately
moving on.
accepts the goofy and moves on.
Like-
and it suffers a little bit for that.
Jane. They were trying to make Jane kind of like
Jane
that.
could have been that, but they
then
just
they
didn't.
kind of didn't, like, because
Yeah.
she's like, oh, I turned to, like, the chemo wasn't helping, so I turned to Asgardian space magic and stuff, but then she's just kind of, like, fine with
And I
everything.
think she was very much accepting of the goofy, and I feel like it might have been a little bit better if she was just a little bit more what?
confused.
But
But I mean, she has seen it all
it
before.
was, yeah,
so.
that's another thing is she's been through this a couple times now, so you can't really do that with
Like,
her.
she went to
So
Asgard.
I understand why she wasn't in that role, but the fact that there wasn't anyone in that role kind of
And also,
hurt the
just
movie a little bit.
Thor and Loki have a really fun dynamic, and that was the only good part of Thor: The Dark World. It's just like a generally like they have a good chemistry together, and those characters play off each other really well, and like holding each other down.
Yeah.
And I think without that, Thor, especially in this one, comes off like a little too like boastful.
Yeah.
Because how the dynamic worked before is like Thor was like, I'm the coolest one here,
And
then
Loki would make him feel
Loki
stupid.
would knock him down a
Yeah.
peg. In this one, when he comes out and he's like, I'm the cool guy.
Everyone's like, you are the
Everyone's
cool
like,
guy.
you are the coolest guy.
And then
Yeah.
So
Korg
the
and then
character
Korg
feels
goes
like a
up.
little too self-absorbed.
And we didn't have Jane Foster even doing that.
No.
She was also kind of looking up to him as like a
As like an
guide.
idol.
So like that didn't really work out either because
Yeah.
like
And
so
Korg is
Thor
kind
is
of
just
just a
sort of
moron,
always
so-
stuck in
It
this.
makes him a little bit less likable
Yeah.
as a character. And then we have our villain of Gore, who again, great screen presence, not set up
Really
well
cool
enough.
visual aesthetic too.
Really
Yeah.
cool visuals. Necro Sword kind of wasted
Yeah.
a little
So
bit.
for context, in the comics, the Necro Sword is the first symbiote forged by the dark god Null, who sort of existed in the universe before the Celestials, and then the Celestials started making stuff. He didn't like that. He forges the sword. Being the first symbiote, that's what gives them their weaknesses to fire and sound, is the fires of the forge and the sound of the
clanging
hammer.
of the knife.
That's where those weaknesses come from. And then he uses that sword to sort of fight the Celestials. Eventually, he loses. The sword goes on to past wielders until it ends up in the hands of Gore, and basically the same stuff plays out. But they didn't really spend any time on what the sword is or how it works. We just know in the first scene, they're like, oh, we got this guy. He has the sword. It kills gods. And Gore's like, oh, okay, well, you're dead now. Let's go kill the
Yeah,
gods.
that was really dumb. I liked how the god was like, "Oh yeah, that's just the sword that kills gods." To this,
Anyways,
to
you're
this
stupid.
guy, to
And
this
then he's
guy
like,
that's obviously mad. Like,
Yeah.
oh, what's gonna happen? Like,
There is a lot of characters both explaining exactly what is happening and exactly how they feel about things.
Yeah.
There's a scene where Jane is talking to Valkyrie, and Valkyrie literally goes, I want to be friends with you because you remind me of my sisters who I lost in battle, and
Yeah.
we should be friends. Like, it's literally just that. Like,
There's no subtext
there's
at all.
no
ever. In the whole
everything
movie.
is on the table.
Everything's very obvious.
They're gonna tell you what everyone is feeling, what's going on.
Yeah.
You don't gotta think about it.
Like Zeus has all these women around him, which would imply that he's probably,
A
sort of a
philanderer?
playboy or yeah. And then he's like, anyway, so when's the orgy happening? And
Yeah.
we're like, oh, so we're just gonna, okay,
I don't know if that was like a time thing, and they just didn't have time to like
to flesh that
to
out.
flesh
Like,
that out or something. But they were
that's
just like
just that joke. And they did it twice.
they did it twice,
and it's just both times it was just like, okay, that's
Okay.
a little weird for a Marvel movie.
especially
Yeah, it
since
felt
these
out of
are like
place.
mainly kids films.
Yeah,
and this movie was so like lighthearted that it was like,
that joke just
That's
was really weird. And
weird.
it
I
was
think
Like-
that was improv.
it might have been improv. It just felt a little out of place.
Yeah,
I think Marvel's gotten a little bit edgier, like just
Uh,
recently.
I feel like in some aspects, but given the villain's sort of lackluster approach to villainy, I
for a character
tend to
named
disagree.
Gore the God Butcher, he does very little butchering.
He only butchers like two gods, and one of them's like a mole man.
Does
So
he only kill one character on screen?
we know he was killing other gods. He only kills one on
He
screen,
only kills one on
and it's
screen.
the first one he
we
kills.
see
That's
a
such a
dead
waste.
god, but he doesn't kill
Yeah,
it on screen.
Again, we only see him kill one guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we see him kill the one god at the beginning.
And that's it.
We know he kills others because Zeus is like, oh, he's been
Yeah.
killing little dudes, but he's no big deal.
Yeah, I wish they should have done like just a minute-long montage of him just like
Yeah, we just needed
killing
again. That was another
gods.
thing where like, it would have really benefited from
Yeah.
just like 5 or 10 more minutes of seeing him do some evil stuff.
Which so Taika Waititi talked about like a few months ago that this movie was 3 hours long in like the initial cut,
Yeah,
and the final runtime was like 1:49. Like it's pretty short.
yeah,
And like, which is weird to me because apparently they were really struggling to cut it down,
yeah.
and it's weird that they settled on like an hour and 50 minutes. Because even like most
I
Marvel
feel like
stuff
it
is like
would've-
2:15.
Yeah, I
It's
feel
not-
like 2:15 would have been a sweet spot for this one. I feel like
Yeah.
it was just a little short.
And there's so much improv going on that it's obvious when they like butcher the conversations down
In order to make it make sense.
in order to
yeah.
make it like fit, like especially at the beginning with the Guardians we're in this for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But like, there's like an interaction between Peter Quill and Thor that it's so obvious that they were like improving for like half an hour, and the scene is like butchered. Like there's so many cuts.
Yeah.
And like, but there's no time passing. Like it feels really awkward.
It feels like they're talking really fast.
And not a whole lot of the plot elements really have a lot of time to flesh out. Only a few of the through lines really like hit.
Yeah, really resolve themselves
And
by the end.
I think so that it starts out with Thor, or like a few minutes, and Thor helps the blue
gonna
guys,
Google something
and
real
the
quick.
Guardians of the Galaxy are like, oh, he's showing off again. I think it would have helped that joke if they did like a little like montage of the Guardians' adventures, and Thor just annihilates the bad
Well, we
guys.
did have a
'Cause he's-
montage, but it was like...
Thor was just sitting
yeah,
there.
he was just sad.
So I think it would have been better for that joke if Thor was like always, just killing all the bad guys easily, because the Guardians don't really have that many
Villains,
like
yeah.
villains that are that bad. So,
Yeah. Do we...
This is I'm looking up the co-writer of this.
Mm-hmm.
She's done like one other movie.
What's that?
You know, the HBO Max movie about abortions?
I guess I do
She
now.
did a movie called Unpregnant, which is about 2 girls who want to go get an abortion. She was one of 5 writers on that.
So this will
How
probably
did
help her
Get
career.
this job.
I don't know. She was probably friends with...
And I wonder if they
Yeah.
brought her. My guess is they brought her on to like have the script be tighter, but it's like way looser than the last one.
Yeah, which is a little weird.
And that might have been like they wrote
They
a
wrote
tighter
it and
script,
just ignored
and
it,
then they ignored it,
which is totally possible.
which is fine. But the problem with that is like the through lines of the movie don't hit as hard
yeah,
because they're less like well established. Like they're
it makes the
established-
movie like
and then they're
goofier, but it
resolved
doesn't
to
make it
Yeah.
makes the impact of the story a little bit not as tight.
Yeah, and I know that's how Taika Waititi likes to make these things.
Yeah, that's his.
That's kind of his style, but I think his style would still work with just like less improv, and he still has a lot of like inherent goofiness and visual flair to his stuff that like helps separate him from the others. He doesn't really
As
need...
CGI heavy as the movie is,
Yeah.
it is very visually interesting.
He's the only. He makes a lot. He puts a lot of color in these.
Yeah.
He has,
Like,
a lot
New
of interesting
Asgard in
camera
this
work.
movie looks totally different than New
Yeah.
Asgard in the last movies. Like in the other movies, it was kind of like a rundown fishing
He's
town.
really good at not making these movies just gray.
Yeah, in this movie, it's like the grass
Colors
is
are real vibrant.
super
Yeah.
green. The buildings look sort of like more Norse in appearance. Like the colors are more bold. There's like tour guides giving tours because it's like people want to tour it now. I guess that's the thing.
Oh, I did like Heimdall's kid. I think that's cool.
I think Heimdall's kid was
'Cause-
a cool character
And a fun
Yeah.
setup.
and a
for
fun
more things.
set. We talked about this after the movie came out. Every single one of the new projects, aside from I think Moon Knight, but pretty much every single other one of the new projects that they've done in the last phase
Has been setting up.
have all added
one
at
character.
least one character that will eventually be a part of the new Avengers team
and or Thunderbolts.
or the Thunderbolts. So we have this new kid Thor, his like
New
adopted
girl-
daughter,
new girl daughter Thor.
who has like laser eyes. We have Spider-Man, who's I think young enough that he could be in the Young Avengers still. We have Kate
Heart.
Bishop,
Kate Bishop.
who's around the same age as Spider-Man at this
America
point.
Chavez.
We have America Chavez.
Miss Marvel.
We have Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel.
Well, she's going to be in the Marvels team, which is different. So we'll
she'll
see
be
if she
in
crosses
both.
over. Yeah.
We have what's his face from Falcon and Winter Soldier. Patriot is I think his name.
U.S. Agent.
Oh
No,
no,
The
the
boy.
kid Falcon, the kid that Falcon.
The
talks to.
guys. The dude who was experimented on. His like grandson.
Zemo.
Oh,
No.
not Zemo.
The what's his face? He was the
Oh, the like the guy who was like a prototype for Captain America's kid.
His grandson.
Yeah, I forgot he had
His
powers.
grandson's in the Young Avengers
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But like they keep Ironheart.
Ironheart will
I
be
think you
in.
mentioned Ironheart.
Yeah.
But Stature's gonna be in Ant-Man 3. Like they keep Billy and Tommy from
If
WandaVision.
they ever get real.
They'll-
enough.
I don't
We'll
know. I
bring
don't
those
think.
characters
I don't
back.
think they'll do those.
I don't know if they will either, but
Hulkling will
those
probably
ones are
be in
maybes.
Secret Invasion.
I really hope they don't do
I
Hulkling
think
because
they'll do.
the constant. You know what he's the product of, right?
They'll do something else.
Yeah.
But,
And then we have, of course, Kang being introduced in Loki, and he's like the Thanos of the Young Avengers. He's their big bad main guy.
yeah, so we just keep And a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people complaining that these like more recent ones feel like really directionless. And I think that's true to some extent, like story-wise.
But then again, Phase 1 also didn't have a narrative through line either.
It had the Tesseract.
It had the Tesseract, which
we had Loki was in Thor, and he was.
We had characters and objects crossing over, building towards something, but we didn't know what that was. We didn't really know where it was going. Much like this phase, we have characters crossing over and adding new elements to stuff, but we don't really know where it's going.
Yeah, and
Kevin Feige claims there's a plan. I would assume there is. This is probably going somewhere. We'll just have to wait and see. Maybe these movies will age better over time.
I think people are generally like complain because the Infinity Saga, you obviously know
it was so tight. It was so well put together.
Well, like you introduced, there's 6 magic stones, and there's a villain who wants them all. Eventually, we're gonna see all of them, and he's gonna get them all.
Yeah.
So, but in this one, it's like we're setting up like aspects of the universe that'll eventually build to something.
Yeah.
But we don't like.
Like I said, it's not as tight.
You can do more than just one thing with that.
It's not as clear of a way forward.
Saga.
And the Infinity Saga had the strongest, not the strongest like strong-wise, but like the biggest Marvel characters.
One of the biggest villains, yeah.
And like because everyone knows Captain America, everyone knows Hulk, everyone knows Black Widow. Like those are the
big,
characters
heavy
that draw
Marvel
people in.
But my guess is and I know everyone's saying this, and I know everyone's mad because obviously they're gonna freaking butcher this comic storyline. But they're gonna do Secret Wars, or their version of Secret Wars. That's obviously what they're building towards.
I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
We're setting up different multiverses. We're setting up Eternity, who doesn't take place.
You know what?
We're setting up Celestials.
I wonder if instead of doing Secret Wars, they'll do Contest of Champions and call it Secret Wars.
I mean, that's possible.
Because that was much more multiverse than Secret Wars.
And it's not going to be. There's 2 comic Secret Wars, right?
I'm talking about the new Secret
There's
Wars.
80s one that's just a toy
The
advertisement.
80s one does not count as
and
a
the
that's
plot
barely
is
a
just
story.
the plot is they literally get sent to a planet, and
The plot is
heroes and the
Spider-Man
villains-
gets a new suit to sell more action figures.
The plot of the comic is that all the heroes and all the villains get transported to Battle World, and they fight each other.
This guy called the Beyonder goes, I'm going to make Battle World, and he rips some planets apart, glues them together. He goes,
they fight.
I think it would be cool if these guys
and
fight.
they fight for 8
And
issues
then they have
so
guys
that they
fight.
can sell action
Yeah.
figures. And then the 2015 one is like this massive arc that like the writer had been planning out for years, and he'd been writing like different series that all built to it, and it was like it was mainly a Fantastic Four storyline.
Yeah.
But in this, obviously, we don't even have the Fantastic Four yet, so it can't even really focus on them.
Yeah.
So I think it's mostly going to
Secret
be...
Wars was almost like a sequel to Civil War in a lot of ways, with the way that the villains were like and heroes were all teaming up and facing up against each other in
the more modern
and
one?
yeah, in the more modern one. In tone, that's what it was close. I'm trying to explain like what it was in terms of how
It's
the
so
scale.
complicated.
The scale of it was
Yeah.
on the
It's-
same scale as Civil War.
It's so hard. The most recent one is like...
It's very hard to explain.
No, because it's tied in... Because he literally
it's
like...
literally like hundreds of comic
4
books.
different series of comics like all led into it. But like... I think they're gonna do something close to that, but like instead of Doctor Doom, it'll be like Kang.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously at least some sort of the big threat in this. Who knows? He's gonna be in Ant-Man next. We'll figure out what they're doing there.
Yeah.
But yeah. But in terms of this movie, it sets up a 5th Thor, which I didn't expect.
Yeah, I kind of thought this was going to be a send-off too.
Because
Yeah.
my main reasoning for that was that Taika Waititi is stupid busy right now.
Yeah.
He has like 7 different projects he's working on. I can try to pull up a list.
He's got Star
Real quick.
Wars. He's got his own stuff that he's working on.
What I thought they were gonna do is that they would have Jane take over the role and have Thor like retire. And
No,
just...
she's wanted to be out of the MCU for a while now.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so Taika Waititi is he's working on Our Flag Means Death, which is his HBO Max show. He's doing another movie, a soccer movie. He's doing the Star Wars movie, and he's producing like I think 4 or 5 different TV shows currently.
Yeah, he's doing a lot.
And he's supposed to make an Akira movie at some point.
That'll never happen.
But like,
Every
I'm
day of his
supposed
week
to.
is just
I
a
thought,
different
like,
thing.
if they were going to do it, they wouldn't directly set up what it was going to be just so they could have like breathing room.
But no, we have a very
But
clear
it's
premise
very
for the next
clear
one.
what they're
Yeah.
doing. And also,
So, okay.
they used Sweet Child of Mine in
At
the wrong movie.
Yeah.
use it for the next one where he has a child.
So, again, spoilers. At the end, Gore gets to the Eternity, which in this movie is basically just the Infinity Stone.
That's what Eternity looks like in the comics.
Eternity looked exactly like he does in the comics, which I thought was really cool. But it's basically just like the Dragon Balls, where you just
a big
once you
wishing
get there,
stone.
you make a wish and then you can't do it again.
Yeah.
So he goes up there and he's gonna wish to kill all the gods, but then he sees that Thor is sad because Jane is dying of cancer, and he goes, maybe instead of killing what I hate, I'll save what I love.
Yeah.
Reference to episode 8. And he, instead of killing all the gods, chooses to bring back his daughter, who, being resurrected by Eternity, has now been blessed with superpowers. We don't really know what they are. We know
lasers.
We know she has vague super strength and purple lightning.
Stormbreaker.
She can carry Stormbreaker, but I think anyone can, so I don't really know
Yeah,
if that's special or not.
Stormbreaker doesn't have the word anything.
Mjolnir does though.
But so we see, she,
That's why he. Okay.
and that's why the movie is called Thor: Love and Thunder. Love being a metaphor
daughter.
for the daughter,
And
thunder
Thunder being Thor.
obviously Thor. And
Which I thought it was stupid at the end where he was like, and they call them Love and Thunder. It's like, no one would call you that.
Yeah.
that doesn't
What?
make a whole lot of sense. But
That
whatever.
person is Love and he is
But,
Thunder.
I mean, Korg is kind of an idiot, so I guess
Korg
it
is
makes
kind of
sense.
dopey, so I mean that's fine.
Which I think is also why some of the stuff was more goofy, because if you think about it, it's being told by
It's
Korg.
being the whole movie
So-
it has the pretense.
I don't know if it's from his perspective necessarily.
Most of the movie
he
has
was
the
there, though.
pretense of Korg is telling this story to an audience. It's never really properly defined who that audience is, but we know
It's the
Korg
blue
is the
people.
one narrating the story.
Yeah.
But so for the stuff we set up for this.
Oh, the kids getting Thor powers.
Yes.
That makes very little sense.
Is it just because like
Okay.
I really didn't
I
like
get
that much.
why it works, sorta.
is it because he's Odin's
Okay.
son, so he can make more
So
Mjolnirs?
Odin can do that. 'Cause
Yeah.
Odin is who
Made
blesses the hammer and says whoever can hold this is worthy of the power of Thor.
Yeah.
So I can presume he can do the same thing.
And
for
it's his
other
power,
stuff.
I
because he
guess.
did it to Jane too, technically, because he
Yeah,
talks to the hammer
unintentionally, yeah.
Yeah.
and he's like, "Take care of
Which
her."
is what that was a setup for, kind of.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense.
We see in a
get-
flashback
It was
Yeah.
kind of
that
dumb.
he tells
though.
the hammer to always protect her, which in the moment wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, but given the context of the movie, it's their excuse for why she
Why she
now
can hold
has the hammer.
Yeah. And Mjolnir is not destroyed again at the end. It is still
Yeah,
around.
Thor just has
And it
Mjolnir
just has
again,
it again.
and
He's got the hammer and the axe.
he gives. I guess the daughter's name is Love. Does she have a name?
She doesn't have a name.
I guess her name is just actually Love.
I wonder
It's-
what she's credited as. I bet she's credited as like Love Gorson or Gordon.
Goran-
Love Gorson.
No,
Maybe her name is
Love
Thor.
God Butcher. So he gives.
She is probably credited as Love.
I'm just gonna call her Love because that's what Korg says her name is.
Yeah, my guess is they're just
So he
calling
gives
her
Love she has Stormbreaker now. That's her weapon, which she is very small.
Yeah,
and
it's as tall as her.
Stormbreaker is very big, and it looks a little bit goofy.
But I guess
guess
that's
she
kinda
can't carry the hammer, so
Yeah, but she's wouldn't
'cause
be
she
worthy of
can't
the
wield
hammer
it.
because she's a child and probably doesn't really have a great
Yes.
grasp of morality yet. But
That doesn't make a lot
and
of
she
sense,
does
but whatever.
try to shoot him with a
and
laser.
she does shoot him
Yeah,
with
she
laser
does shoot.
eyes.
And
which,
then he kind of just lets that go.
so okay, here's another thing that we've been talking about Thor for we should probably move on here soon.
We've been talking about for
But one more
45
thing I
minutes.
wanted to talk about. Can the
Quickly.
gods only be killed with the necro sword or what? Because
I think so.
we
because
know
he throws the
Zeus
lightning
gets
bolt.
impaled and is basically fine.
Yeah, he
is
doesn't
that
die.
because he's Zeus or because it has to be the sword? Because we've seen Loki dies, Odin dies.
I think it's just
we've
easier.
seen gods die before. All
think
of
it's just easier
the
for the
other
sword to
Asgardians
kill.
were killed via just getting killed normally. Is it only some gods can get killed with the magic sword?
Well, I think it's just
or is
that
it just
makes
like a
easier.
guaranteed kill?
Yeah, I think it's just like a guaranteed kill.
It's just like if a
everything.
god is killed with this, they 100% dead.
Also, I like how the guy that wielded the necro sword before just sucked.
Yeah, just died
Just
immediately.
horrible.
Killed
he
by
got
some
killed by
random
like
guy.
some random low level god
Yeah.
that doesn't really have any powers other than like
Eating
making
fruit.
I guess. He just kind of sits there.
Vaguely
Trying to
enjoys
find,
fruit.
the girl's name.
Just go to the cast.
Just
That's
Google
what I'm
who
looking
plays
Are you
the.
on IMDb?
She doesn't have a picture on
Tucker,
IMDb.
if you just look up the movie, it'll show you the cast. Sam, keep talking.
All right.
We're gonna find this though.
Yeah, you guys find that.
I will find. Now I'm determined.
I will.
wanna know if
I'm gonna
she
move
just
on
called
to
Love
gaming
and
And
news.
then you just go to cast.
Alrighty, so that's our thoughts on Thor. Is there anything else anyone wants to add before we move on?
No. Oh, I just wanted to say. So we set up Thor 5 with Hercules as the villain, played by
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso,
He
which I
looks.
thought was funny.
He looks the part, and the costume they had him in. I don't know if
pretty
it'll
fun.
stay the same, but it's
It'll probably
ripped
change.
straight out of the comic books.
Yeah.
He looks exactly
We
the
set
same.
up a Young Avengers thing with the girl, and then the Guardians mentioned that they were looking for a relaxing holiday, and
which alludes to their holiday
conveniently,
special.
There's a holiday
later this
special
year.
coming up. So I did think I don't know if that means.
I don't know if that'll be connected, but it's just kind of funny that it turned out that way.
It's been so long since the last Guardians movie.
It has. It's been. When did it come
It's
out?
been
2016 or 2015?
It's been 5 years, and they obviously they were in Infinity War, and they were in this.
They
for
were a
second.
big part of those movies, but
But
they
I-
haven't had their own solo thing
Yeah,
in
it's
a
been a
while.
I'm looking forward to 3. That's the main thing I'm looking forward to.
Hopefully that'll save the series.
I don't
Okay.
really care about
They don't say the name of the
Yeah, now
youngest
that-
I
daughter.
don't think she's credited. in the thing.
Alrighty, well, moving on then into gaming
Can I
news.
read it?
Speaking of things that are basically Thor, we have a new trailer for God of War Ragnarok. This is their
After
launch
people
trailer.
were pestering the Cody Belrog, Corey Belrog, whatever his face, the director of the game, on Twitter, like threatening to like send him pictures of their penises.
That's
He
a
didn't tell
bizarre
them what the
threat.
release date. Yeah, it was really weird. But
That's
He
such
has
a
the
weird
shield
threat.
from Percy
basically
Jackson.
they
now.
were harassing
The director.
Santa Monica development team to reveal the release date.
Which
Yeah, so
I
we
am
can-
So which
glad.
is why they did it now.
We can see
It's
there
coming
he's
out
like,
November 9th.
yeah. So we can see he's got a new shield. It's like the one from Percy
He's got the
Jackson.
shield. He's got the other. Yeah,
His son is a little bit older, and that there's Fenrir, which, if you know North mythology, eats all the
It's
gods every
Loki's
year, and then
kid.
they come
Loki's
back.
Pet wolf.
It's Loki's
Well,
kid.
wolf
doesn't
that
he
is
give
also
birth to
relate-
it?
Well, he,
Or
I
like he-
believe.
No, that was a horse.
It's his
right?
child.
Well, Loki
He has like 15
shapeshifted into
million
a woman,
Didn't give birth to a horse one time?
He gives birth to like a
to
million
a
babies.
eight-legged horse.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Well,
of.
it
I
was
think
the horse
Fenrir is
and
just
this.
his pet.
No, it's his child.
No,
It's
Fenrir.
one of his
Yeah,
kids.
it's his
Yeah.
child.
Whatever. He is. Why do you have so many
Loki's
Loki's
kids?
got a bunch of really weird kids.
Loki's
That's one
weird.
of them.
I'm very excited for this because 2018 God of War was very good. I like.
And we got a
October?
release date.
and November are very packed months.
Well,
for
it's
gaming.
always with the holiday season. that
Yeah, but
always
it's like a
happens.
lot.
And we got the sort of wintry aesthetic of Norse gods. It's Ragnarok.
Terrible box art.
Yeah, the box art's not great,
It's
but
alright.
you know,
It
we
is
got a
what it
release
is.
date, so that's cool. Good for.
I am
good
excited
that.
for game. Game is good. Hopefully.
Hopefully, game will be cool.
I'm gonna take a
Go
quick look.
pre-order it, guys.
Go pre-order now. Don't actually do that.
I'm kidding.
Wait for games to
Pre-ordering
come
is
out.
stupid. Just buy it when it comes out digitally
So
if you want to.
October has Overwatch 2,
Which is free,
Marvel's Midnight Suns,
which will suck.
Forspoken, which I think was delayed.
I
Oh,
don't know
and,
what that is.
I thought it came out.
Plague Tale, Mario plus Rabbids.
Modern Warfare 2 comes
I think
out in
Modern
October.
Warfare 2 comes out.
Put the mic a little closer to your face.
Gotham
Hold
Knights,
it correctly.
High on
Gotham
Life.
Knights. I want to play High on Life, I think.
And then in November we have this.
What's this?
God
Oh,
of War,
oh,
and Pokemon. It's a lot right
it's
next to each
stacked.
other.
There's a lot.
That's a
yeah.
lot. Your wallet's going to be real sad. Okay.
The wallet is not looking good.
I'm going to read the next thing.
Alrighty.
Rockstar was developed. Oh, this is game announcements, by the way. Rockstar was developing remakes of both Grand Theft Auto 4 and Red Dead Redemption, but they are being shelved so that the studio can completely focus on making Grand Theft Auto 6, which is good.
Which
because
they
that's what
should
people
have
want.
done
A long
like
time
5
ago.
years ago.
Because no one cares
And
about
also,
remakes.
We don't need a remake of Red Dead Redemption.
Alright,
or
guys,
Grand Theft
what if we
Auto
remake
4.
the remake of a
Especially
game?
since your remakes thus far
Are
have not been
terrible.
good.
So yes, please just. What if Grand Theft Auto 6 is like bad, like really bad?
I don't think it
How
can
could it be
good
bad?
at this point.
Well, like
I have
it can-
zero faith in their
It
studio.
can be. It's not going to live up to the hype because they set themselves up for failure by taking this long.
Yeah.
But also, like, what if it's like just just like a poorly made game?
Yeah, no, I'm predicting a Cyberpunk 2077 with this game.
Yeah, you are.
Fully, the forecast says Cyberpunk 2077 is on the way.
I think the worst thing it could be is just okay.
I think
I think people are going to
'cause,
get
like,
so
what-
hyped and then just.
Because like
It's just going to be alright.
it's not because it will be remembered if it's really good, and it will be remembered if it's really bad.
Yeah.
Because it will either meet all of their expectations or like horribly not make them.
And spoiler alert, it's not going to meet the
But like,
expectation.
if it's just like fine, then that will like make people the most angry.
Yeah.
Because then it will have taken like 10, like 15 years to make, and it will not even be memorable. It'll basically
I
just be
think
more
this
Grand
will
Theft Auto 5.
literally just be Grand Theft Auto 5 with a new campaign
Maybe
and
slightly
better
better
graphics.
Yeah.
And that's it. And people will be really hyped, and it will
This is
not
a good
impress
thing,
them.
though, that they're
actually gonna focus on it.
Yeah, it is good that they are taking the development of their flagship series seriously after nearly 11 years.
All right, guys, now that we
completely
finished,
ignoring it for 8
After
years.
an entire generation of kids has grown away from the game. Very good choice, guys. Good thinking.
all right, guys, we just finished this remake. Let's remake 2 more games. Oh,
At this point, if your parents are lax enough, you could have been born when the game came out and
It's
like
12 years old,
be
right?
playing it now. Like the game could be older than you and you could be playing it.
Yep. Anyway, moving on. Sucker Punch Studios, developers of Sly Cooper and Infamous and Ghost of Tsushima,
The good games.
have revealed that they have no plans to revisit the Infamous or Sly Cooper franchises, and that no other studios are currently working on projects related to those properties. So
That sort of debunks the
they're not
rumors.
doing Infamous 3, they're not doing
Yeah.
Sly
I
Cooper
want Sly
5, and
Cooper.
those movies aren't even getting like remakes or remasters or anything.
I really want Sly Cooper, but okay.
I'm not clamoring for a new Sly Cooper game,
But it would have been nice for like just a remaster.
but I'd like them to like remaster them and port them.
just
to
so that they're on
style.
modern stuff. and
Yeah,
they
I
look
really
better,
wish
yeah.
they at least ported them because I played them all on PS Vita and they were good games.
Even Infamous, like that'd be good to move over.
Yeah.
and what's dumb is they're doing Game Pass now thing on PS4, which
Yeah, they
and
have
they
their
have the premium.
Really confusing Game Pass knockoff.
Yeah, it's really
their-
confusing.
Their
'Cause-
PS Plus thing is. so
Anyways,
weirdly structured.
they have the premium one, which gives you the classics game catalog. But for some reason, they don't have Sly Cooper on there.
Yeah,
Like they have Ape Escape 2, but not Sly
Everyone loves Ape
Cooper.
Escape 2.
No, but Sucker Punch has always kind of been this way. They did 3 Sly Coopers for PS2, and then they moved on, and then they did Infamous for PS3, and then they did Ghost of Tsushima for PS4. They kind of like to only have like one series going a generation, and they don't often revisit stuff.
Yeah.
Like even Sly Cooper 4 was a completely different team.
They're kind of like Nintendo in that sense, where they have a lot of stuff and they will do everything in their power not to make.
They
games.
like to do like one ongoing story for a couple, and then just like move on to a completely different.
Yeah.
Which I'm wondering what they're gonna do next. Because if Ghost of Tsushima was for PS4, are they gonna do a second one that's on PS5? But I think the more likely thing is that they do something completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still need to play Ghost of Tsushima.
Sam, you have any?
Alrighty, so
why
yeah,
is RoboCop on
RoboCop
here?
announced like a few hours before the podcast that they are making a new
Oh, right, I did
first-person
see this.
shooter. At least I think it is, called RoboCop Rogue City.
Is there a trailer?
There is yeah. Let me get
And
that.
I
watch
know
the
the big
trailer.
thing is that the original actor is back to voice RoboCop.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, and he's
Ooh.
also his face is in the trailer.
Oh, has he got?
There's his face right there. Let's do this
When
trailer.
was the last time they tried to do a RoboCop movie?
The 2012 one, was it 2012 or
Right,
2013?
He did that.
With the black suit.
That and like the Total Recall.
It was
remake.
2014 because I actually, when I saw this announced on Twitter, the RoboCop official Twitter account was one of the ones pinned, and they hadn't posted since 2014.
But yeah, I remember because they did like that and the Total Recall remake like right next to each other. Like,
Yeah.
all of that was happening at the same time. Is this
Man.
anything but a fun logo?
This
thing?
might be the logo. This is not the right
Bad
trailer. Let's
that
do the
no
real
one that is under the age of 40 will care about this.
So we got some in
RoboCop
what appears
is-
to be in-engine footage of just.
RoboCop was never the most popular.
It does look good. I mean, it looks like
Like
sort of a
visually.
The
cyber
graphics look good.
cyberpunk
What if this
type
is better
feature.
than Cyberpunk 2077?
I guarantee you it probably will be.
That's really
The
that'd be
shooting
really
looks
funny.
functional.
It kind of
I don't
looks
know.
like
It looks alright.
I mean, it looks like a first-person shooter. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
have a lot more.
It just looks pretty basic.
That's fine though.
It'll be.
whatever.
I'm just hoping it's a fun
You know what? I'm
story-based shooter.
glad that licensed games are good now.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
And that they're not like only made to tie in with like random junk. that
Yeah.
they poop out.
Tucker, the Burger King games, the Noid games. Are you?
How could you
blind?
forget the
Are you
McDonald's
blind?
game?
Those are all such good games.
I'm saying like I'm glad that when we get these like when we get a for the most part when we get a Marvel game, Like it's treated as a real video game,
It-
not
yeah.
like an
Like,
action
Spider-Man
figure
is
at Walmart.
probably one of the best games on PS4.
On PS4, yeah, for sure.
Looks fun. June 2023. Oh, it's gonna be on Switch.
Yeah, okay.
What?
It's gonna be on
So-
Switch.
That'll run so
Will
bad.
you be playing the cloud version of this game on
I was
Switch?
about to say it's
There
gonna
ain't
be-
no way it's the full game.
If it looks anything like Apex, it'll be horrible.
My greatest fear is that every third-party game on Switch for like the next 3 years is all cloud.
I think
stuff.
most of them will
Dang.
have to be.
Yeah.
The Switch just can't
More
run most of
modern
these games.
stuff. Yeah.
Now,
Well, it can. It's capable of it if they port
it's
it right.
capable
It's just
of
expensive.
running a very pared down version, like we see with The Witcher.
Okay.
That's obviously an
The Doom
very
games run fine, and that's because
the
they
one
have,
that's not a cloud
well,
version.
they have no Eternal isn't a cloud version. They
But
just
it-
didn't.
oh, that's right. I just took
They
forever.
just didn't do
Yeah.
a physical release.
Yeah.
But like that's because they have like a dedicated like team
Developing,
working
yeah.
on the port, so it does work, but it costs a lot of money to get it to
Yeah.
like, work right, and also to get it on a cartridge, which is why they didn't release.
The one that made me the
Yeah.
most upset was Kingdom Hearts.
That was
Freaking PS1 game?
That was-
You're gonna charge me
Yeah.
full price for the cloud version of a game that I know for a fact could probably run on a 3DS. One of them is a freaking 3DS port.
2 of them are DS games.
We know they can run on the Switch.
Alright, guys,
That was,
Monkey Ball.
100%
Kingdom Hearts
laziness.
3, I kind of understand. Even then, it definitely
A little
could
bit
have
of
been
work-
ported.
It started development on the PS3.
Yeah, it could have
If
worked.
they did a little bit of work, it 100% could have.
They
run on
only
that.
made them cloud versions because
'Cause
they
it
wanted
was
them to come out.
way cheaper.
No, because they wanted it to come out in time with the Smash Bros. DLC.
All right,
But
guys.
even then, it
Monkey
hasn't even
Ball.
come out yet.
Monkey
Well,
Ball
no,
port for
the
Switch.
Sora
cloud
in
version.
Smash.
I know,
They wanted
but
it to be
even
the
then,
same
like,
time.
it's still after that.
Yeah, it was like a week after. It wasn't that
And
much.
and they could have gotten it.
They absolutely could have made it work.
They just were too lazy.
Yeah.
That was a classic Square Enix.
Square
move.
Enix has really fallen off in the last like 5 years.
I don't know what they're doing over there.
They
sold too many.
They're-
They used to-
NFTs.
They used to be like genuinely one of the best studios in the industry.
and now
and
they're just,
they
like,
have
Let's see what
really
their most
hard.
recent game.
They made one
most
good
recent
game
games.
in the last like decade.
Yeah, they're fumbling real hard.
Yeah.
over there. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, Nintendo has a huge problem because their console's hardware is not good.
Yeah,
and,
Nintendo is very quickly running
and-
into a
Which
wall.
we
here.
all
Like-
knew this was going to happen.
Like PS5, like it's so hard for third-party developers to like make graphically good-looking games that are able to port to Switch because like when you have PS5 and like Xbox Series X,
As the other
which are, like,
consoles get more powerful,
the Switch just keeps
the Switch
going down.
is in a weird
Which
place.
is funny because it's sold way more than those.
But
let's
that's
see.
because the Switch, at this point, at least to me, it's not really like a video game console that everyone has to have. It's more like a tablet or a phone. Like it's just another thing that you have as another way to play games.
But even then, like the software sells so much higher on Switch than it does on other consoles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Mario Kart 8 has sold probably 4 times whatever the top seller on PS5 is.
Yeah. Well, it's not a super
Even on
fair
P-
comparison, but
even
yeah.
on PS4 it was like 2-3 times as high.
Yeah.
So I don't think Nintendo
Let's
really
see.
cares.
The most recent Square Enix game.
But see, the thing is Nintendo's also been a little bit. I think they're kind of falling behind with first-party developed games
I think
too.
they're getting a little comfy just sitting on those evergreen titles.
Well, but they're not even making them. They're not making.
No,
new
I'm
ones.
saying like
Yeah, they're just
I think they're getting a little comfy just
sitting on the
there
backlog. Yeah.
with the money rolling in from Zelda and Mario and Animal Crossing and Smash and
'Cause
Mario Kart.
Animal Crossing's release was
Huge.
huge, but its
And it's continued to
its
sell
support
fairly well.
its support was awful.
yeah, it was.
They stopped.
Well, they did
supporting.
like small update,
Really
giant
big,
update,
and we're done. Yeah, it was so bizarre how they
and
rolled
most of
that
it
out.
was like content from old games
That should have been in it long.
that they just slowly added to this one.
Yeah,
with like a couple new features thrown.
it
in.
was
think
not
what's-
great.
What's really keeping Nintendo's alive is that their most popular games never go down in price, or really any of their games. Their
That's,
first-party
that's what he's
games
saying.
They're
They're
never go
relying
down
on the
in price.
evergreen
Yeah, they're
titles to
just-
keep the system.
Mario
afloat.
Kart 8 is still selling, and it still costs $60.
Yeah, 'cause,
and
like,
they don't.
They'll
really
go
care.
on sale maybe
'Cause, like,
once or twice
say
a
I
year.
wanna
They go on
play-
sale on Black Friday.
Yeah.
Say I want to buy Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's still $60.
Because Odyssey was on sale like just recently for like $40.
Occasionally it'll be like Mario Day.
Yeah.
And it'll be like 10% off.
Anyways, here's the most recent Square Enix games. So we have Outstriders World Slayer, Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, Babylon's Fall. Final
Babylon's
Fantasy,
Fall, that game that has been shut down because it only had at peak 1,000 active users.
We have Final Fantasy Endwalker, Voice of Cards, Life is Strange, which is the only title that I recognize on here other than Final Fantasy, but they're all the same game. We have Outriders, Balan Wonderworld,
A 10 out of
great
10 hit
game.
across the board.
Octopath Traveler, Champions of the Continent, Marvel's Avengers, so a great game there. Final Fantasy.
All right, we got to keep
Remake,
going because we're still
a
in
lot
gaming
of
news.
very, very not good
We can
games.
skip these next
Thor: Love and
two.
Thunder skins added to Avengers. That game.
Wow.
Speaking of Square Enix failures, there
No
you
one
go.
cares about that game.
Indiana Jones in weekly Fortnite news. Indiana Jones added to the game.
In
Woohoo, let's go. And his quests are like astoundingly easy. I finished them in like a day.
I
I
haven't
think
played Fortnite in a
Harrison
while.
Ford even knows he's in that
Harrison
game.
Probably
Ford
not.
does not know.
They
what-
probably
Think
gave
he
him
knows what
$100 bucks.
Fortnite is.
No, they went, hey, can we use you for this game? He goes, the what? And I go,
I
okay,
think
we're
he
putting you in the
signed
game.
some license
Here's
with
$100,
Disney that they
Harrison
own the rights
Ford.
to his face,
Yeah.
and I don't think he even worries about it.
GameStop stock split by 4. If you know what that means, cool, good for you. All right, on to TV news. No new trailers this week, but we do have a good amount of a good chunk of news. Sega is looking for someone to adapt Persona into a live-action film or TV series.
Makes sense.
Makes
I
sense.
guess.
It's a very story-heavy game.
and there's a lot of like big event slows down.
Yeah,
Big event. It would work well as a show.
it would work well. I assume.
And there's 4
the
games,
Persona
and there's
5
5 games. They're all different, but 5
The
seasons
Persona
make it an
5
anthology
anime
show.
was pretty bad, so if the anime adaptation is not good, then
As long as
I would be very
it
wary.
has a
of that.
chance if Netflix doesn't do it.
Yeah. Alrighty. The untitled Godzilla TV series for Apple TV Plus will be set in the aftermath of the battle between Godzilla and the Titans that wrecked San Francisco.
So that's the fight from 2.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
want to say the second Godzilla movie.
Oh no, it's Godzilla.
Ah. Alrighty. Everyone is gonna be returning, as far as I'm aware.
I don't know. Those are all different people. None of them are from the old.
Never mind. It's gonna have a totally new cast.
Yes.
The
Cool.
Muppets have a new logo. Should I pull up the new
Yes,
Muppets
please,
logo?
baby. The Muppets are. There was also an on-set accident in the newest Muppets TV show, but the
Oh,
Muppets
Kermit
have a
died.
new
Kermit fell off a
logo. They almost crashed a car off a cliff.
Nice. Were there people? in
Which
the car?
one is it?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
It's the Muppets, the green one.
This one?
Not that one.
Ew, that looks.
This one?
That one.
That one looks good. I
This
like
is-
that.
That's the new logo.
Is it different
I like
than
that one.
this one?
That's the Muppets Studio logo.
So what's the?
So that's the studio logo is the stop it. So the green one is the one generally for like the franchise. That's what you'll see on merch. And then the Muppet Studio logo is like the production studio actually.
So what was the old logo?
It was
The
just
old
the
one,
green.
You know
one.
the green. You know it's like the Muppets in black and then the M is green with like.
Oh, this?
That one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
the
that-
other the
that's the
font
one.
looks much better.
And I think the Disney is coming off. I think it's just going to be the Muppets.
I like the old one.
I like this one.
I like the new one a lot
Now,
more.
If you go, not that you have to, but the Muppet Show logo is basically this, but there's show underneath it.
Yeah.
Which makes me think, I think they're trying to retarget the Muppets to feel more like they were in the 70s.
Less like a
I
Kermit
think
movie.
I think they're trying to steer away from like the Muppets Now type stuff. I just
Okay, cool. Muppet logo. Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, right?
D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio are reportedly set to reprise their roles as Daredevil and Kingpin in Disney Plus's MCU Echo.
So this was first discussed this was first like leaked, I guess, by the Weekly Planets in their Hot Scoop or Shot of Poop segment. The leak was that Charlie Cox, Daredevil, is going to be in 3 episodes, and Vincent D'Onofrio will be in 2. And Daredevil will have a black and red suit, which he wore for a little bit in the comics, and he's going to be looking for Jessica Jones. And then Kingpin will be in
Okay.
2 episodes, and he'll be wearing an eye patch, and they'll be setting up an arc where he's running for mayor of New York City.
Interesting that getting shot in the head just means you have an eye patch.
I think he got shot in one eye or something. I don't
And the bullet didn't just stopped it in one eye.
He's got an iron eye.
Yeah, which means I feel bad for the people who make Echo because it's pretty much going to be judged as a terrible thing. And it's still because they probably won't show up until like the back half of the show.
You know, everyone's just
Which
going to
means the
complain
first
about
three
the
episodes
first
of the
half.
show
Yeah.
will be people yelling about when
Everyone will drop off because the first 3 episodes don't have them.
isn't in this.
No, but that show is so good, and I'm so worried about this.
Yeah, alrighty.
Just don't waste the actors.
So here's probably the weirdest news this week. A Stranger Things spin-off has confirmed to be in the works by the Duffer Brothers, who also recently launched a new studio, Upside Down Pictures, which presumably exists to just pump out Stranger Things content forever.
Money.
But on top of the Stranger Things content that they will be pumping out, they are making a live-action adaptation of Death Note.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Also for Netflix again.
pray to God that it's better than the first one.
Which it can't really get much.
It can't be worse, honestly. So I mean,
Unless they basically
The-
make the same movie again, just
Yeah.
without
only-
Willem Dafoe.
The only good thing about the Death Note
Was the
live
Willem
action
Dafoe.
movie
Was Willem Dafoe.
was Ryuk.
yeah, which
Yeah.
was played by Willem
Yeah.
Dafoe. Yeah,
Because he was like he looked.
he
pretty
looked
cool.
perfect.
Yeah.
They need to keep him. You know what? Recast him. I know he's 90 years old. Bring him back. That's fine.
He doesn't have to like run around.
Well, and the
or
character
anything.
here, let me show because I know
He basically just stands there. He doesn't do a
Yeah, he
whole
just
lot.
I know you don't know who the character.
I've seen one episode of Death Note.
So this is what he
should
looks
watch the rest.
like
It's
in
a good
in universe, which I mean, a 90-year-old decrepit man could definitely pull off this
Yeah,
look.
that's pretty
so.
good.
And for our audio listeners, he's a big.
Hey, wait, go
Like-
to the live action one.
Yeah,
he
we'll
looks like
go
a
to the movie
1980s
version.
punk rocker.
No, he's right next to Sam. Just
looks
go
like
back.
I know, but I want a
shorter
full
hair.
body, where as close to a full body one as we can get. So here, that's the Japanese
Yeah,
live
he
action.
like genuinely looks creepy.
The first one on. the
Yeah,
left
here we
is
go.
the one
Here's
that's
what he
like-
looks like in the Netflix show.
yeah, like he looks.
So
pretty
he
creepy
looks
now.
spot on. If they bring Willem Dafoe back to reprise that role, that'd be great. That's the only thing that
worked.
should even remotely touch the new series.
They're also working on another new Stranger Things series, presumably, or something from Jeffrey.
The
Avis.
creators of Dark Crystal,
Matthews, who did the Dark Crystal series.
everyone's
Oh.
favorite Netflix show.
Apparently, people liked it, but like no one watched it.
Yeah.
That's because it's
it
the
was
Dark
a high-budget
Crystal.
puppet series,
And a
then,
spin-off of a series that absolutely
of
no
a movie
one
no
cares
one's
one
about.
ever
cared
seen.
about.
Yeah.
And then they're also doing a series adaptation of the Talisman, which is a Stephen King book.
And a stage play
A
set
stage play.
in the world
Yes.
of Stranger Things. It's not of the events of Stranger
No,
Things.
it's set in
Oh
the
my
world.
gosh,
It
I
is-
can't wait for them to just
yeah.
ride Stranger Things for the rest of time
Well-
and make infinite money.
You make one successful thing.
Yep.
And you do it for
Guys, this just ended Eddie's series. Guys, this Chrissy's series. Guys, Dayton Matarazzo owns series. We got his adventures at summer camp.
Ooh.
Didn't Netflix give him like two
He
of
has,
his own shows?
yeah, he has. No, I think just one.
He
He
has,
has
like, a
prank
prank
encounters,
show.
and then I think
Or
that's
is-
it. I think he only has one.
Is he not involved in that Unsolved Mysteries thing they also tried to glam Stranger
I
Things
don't think
onto?
so. I think he just has the prank encounters.
Anyways,
That's-
on
that's
to
me wrong.
TV business news. Nexstar will acquire 75% of CW for $0, and instead they will assume a significant portion of CW's current losses, which exceed well over $100 million. How do they pump out content this bad and be in this much debt?
Because they basically have been generating zero revenue.
Do they give $80 million to Grant Gustin and then just spend like
No, they
20 on
spend-
other shows?
They spend a bunch of money on shows that no one watches and have zero ad revenue from.
The CGI looks so bad.
This is
So bad.
because they put they made their ideology the selling point of their network rather than the characters in their shows, which did not pay off in a
Also,
profitable format.
They're teen dramas, and those are generally
Dead now.
not popular anymore.
Yeah.
Other than Stranger Things, let's go.
And, like,
After Riverdale season
Euphoria
2,
did
everyone
well.
gave up on those.
Well, no.
Okay. Teenagers don't watch network television at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They watch Netflix, and if it's not on Netflix, they won't watch it. And so these shows are long and they're cheap and they air weekly for half a year, and then eventually they get to Netflix, but they're also 22 episode seasons, and the quality isn't as high as the 8-episode other teen-centric shows on there.
The other on streaming
The
platforms.
teenage white girls watch Grey's Anatomy and Riverdale.
They watch 3 shows. They watch Grey's Anatomy, they watch Criminal Minds, and they watch Outer Banks. And maybe they watch Euphoria, and they will never, ever watch anything else. They refuse.
Those are the most general of general audience programming. Except Euphoria really isn't. I don't know why that got as popular as it did.
Why do people watch Grey? The biggest question in life I will never know the answer to is why does anyone watch Grey's Anatomy?
The same reason people watch The Office. Because it exists.
But The Office isn't... Okay, The Office is only 9 seasons long. Grey's Anatomy is 20, and I know people who genuinely binge-watched Grey's Anatomy.
Here's the thing, though. With Grey's Anatomy...
It's like the
those episodes are twice as long.
Grey's Anatomy is like One Piece for people who watch network television. It really is.
You literally just...
story.
No, but here's what you do. You pull out your phone, you tap on Grey's Anatomy, and then you do this.
And no matter what, you always have content.
They just slip into a coma.
They
wake up 3
They
hours
plug
later.
themselves into the machine, to the white girl machine.
To the
And they
Matrix.
put on Grey's Anatomy, and then they go, wow.
It's that in Criminal Minds. I swear. It's like, it's so weird that those two ended up being the shows. Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. All right.
Flash.
Speaking of the CW, their most popular series, The Flash, has become the longest-running Arrowverse series with 171 episodes so far.
That's so sad.
It's also now the only remaining Arrowverse show. Superman and Lois, the creators came out when the season finale aired and said it's actually a different universe now.
I'm surprised it got this far.
It's separate
Bizarre,
from
but
the rest of
okay.
the Arrowverse. Because the Arrowverse is
It's a mess.
It's
Yeah.
dead.
When Flash wraps up, the next season will be its last. When that wraps up, it's officially gone, and it'll just be some weird part of
What a
history.
sad way to go out.
What
What a strong start
What
and
is-
abysmal finish. Honestly.
It's
Arrow was a banger show when it came out.
When
The first 3 seasons are still some of the
2.5
greatest.
seasons
Yeah.
is great TV.
Absolutely amazing. Same with The Flash. The first
Season?
two,
really good.
2.5 seasons, bangers. Genuinely good to watch. Like, actually, genuinely good
Entertaining
story,
shows.
genuinely decent production
And
value.
then after
it's
that,
the end of
it
an
just
era.
Fell off
It just took a big diarrhea, and it didn't stop streaming diarrhea until it died of dysentery.
It's truly over.
It's
real
all
sad.
those weird cousins over.
Okay.
They took over your
It was
house.
like you have this amazing pizza, and you're eating the pizza, and it's great. But then you're about halfway through the pizza, your stomach starts to hurt, but it's still pretty good, so you're still eating the pizza. Then you finish the pizza, and then you got to take a massive dump, and it hurts, and, and then you die. That's my metaphor for the Arrowverse.
Or the CW. No, but it's such like I think it will be an interesting part of like this whole like age of like endless content.
I think this is
we're
the
in.
first death of a franchise.
Yeah.
Of a
that,
superhero
that we've seen
franchise.
recently.
And I guess kind of.
This might be the first major
DC's
interconnected
still going.
universe that has died
Yeah.
completely.
DC movies still going, Marvel movies still going.
It's real sad. End of an era.
It's really not sad.
This is a
I
this is a
remember
positive
Tuesday
society.
nights watching
Bro.
The Flash.
It went in like
Good times, man.
20, what even years was that?
16, 18.
14 to like
13.
17. Tuesday nights, Flash, banger time. You get the whole family in there. We like what's going on the Flash. Even our mom would sit in and watch
CW
sometimes. Not
started
very
with-
often, but every once in a while. She'd watch one with us.
They did the crossovers every year.
They
It
did
was
the musical
actually
episode.
fun because you wanted to see what was going
That one
on.
we skipped.
No, we did watch
We
it.
did watch that.
I mean,
Let's not
it's
suck
like
at ourselves.
it started with me in elementary. Now I'm beginning high school. It's the end of
And
an
then
era.
the Flash learned how to use a lightsaber, and it got really dumb and weird.
I
All
still
right.
watch it.
Yeah,
Why?
Tucker's keeping up with
No
it.
one knows.
I just want to be there when it ends.
Yeah.
You want to be there for
Okay.
it?
I don't want.
You're
I
the
don't
sole
wanna,
viewer.
No, I don't want to like have it end and then like 3 months later watch what happened.
Yeah.
I want to be there when it ends so I can close the book on it.
You
want
and
to
like
close it as fast as
I want to
possible.
close it as fast as possible.
I'll catch up on it.
Because like I
eventually.
don't want to have to like go back and like binge watch what happened. Because I genuinely want to see how they end it, and I
Yeah.
don't want to have to go back and like binge watch it.
Yeah,
I'd
'cause
rather
that's just painful.
once a week just like sit there and.
It's
play on
easier
my
to take
phone.
your medicine in small doses. Than
Yeah, you and 5 12-year-olds are the only viewers of this show, so
No,
I guess
it's-
you all be really sad.
the other viewers are like weird Candace Patton like fan girls.
They're all like comic book
It's
guys.
such a weird fan base.
It went from being like an action drama to like a goofy telenovela where the Flash sometimes runs fast.
It's me, the Flash. Oh, my wife is calling.
And every
Barry,
other
run.
week-
Okay.
Every other week they find a reason for him to not be able to run.
Yeah, because it's expensive to have him
It's
run.
too expensive.
And like,
My favorite.
I got so tired of the I have a secret, but I can't tell everyone. Why? Because I have to wait till the last episode
No.
so that they can come
Something
up with a
fun.
solution.
Something fun I noticed in more recent episodes, and I don't. It might have been in older ones that I just didn't notice. But they you know how every time Flash runs into a scene, there's the big lightning and like he's holding a person, and they're like blah, 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 is they'll put in the sound effect, but they forget to put in the visual effect. So the sound plays and like he's just like standing there, and then they jerk forward like they just ran in, but they didn't put in the lightning, so it's just
They just teleport
it's
in.
the sound effect, and then standing there and like jerking forward like they just got there.
Yeah.
But they were there the whole
Like the
time.
stumble.
Yeah. It's really fun. That's the only joy I get from the show.
Technically, he would kill everyone that he runs with.
No, because remember, it like protects
Takes
him
him
when
into
they're-
Flash time.
Yeah. They explained that in like the 5th season, even though he's
Yeah.
been doing it for like 5 years at that point. Anyway, on to movie news. Starting off with Sony's brand new feature film, The Woman King,
Starring Viola Davis.
starring her.
This
Apparently she like worked out for like 8 months.
Which I mean,
Something for
fair
this?
enough.
This is their attempt at like a big like Oscar what do you call it? Like big epic scale
Yeah,
Oscar movie.
Jared Leto. Oh, never mind.
that should have been Jared. That's a
It
cool
should
sword.
always be Jared Leto.
Is that a shark tooth? Where'd you get a shark tooth?
Sam, it's just a tooth.
Yeah, I haven't seen this
Looks
trailer, so I
fun.
don't know what the audio is
It's
saying.
coming from Sony, so you know I don't.
It's
have
coming
a
from
lot of
Sony,
faith.
so my hopes are at an all-time low because they don't know how to make
Yep.
things.
I have very low expectations for this.
That means this movie just has to be pretty good. It will be far exceeding my expectations. Because you slap a Sony name on a thing, and you're just like, oh no.
Oh, is that the Star Wars?
That's
Dude?
John Boyega.
Yeah, John Boyega, that's cool.
Oh, nice.
I'm
I like
glad
him.
he's working.
He's in
Maybe
something.
I will see it.
Yay, John Boyega.
It's always good when you see any of the sequel trilogy actors in a thing.
Yeah, because I feel
Just
bad
because
for
like.
them.
Because
I feel
it's so sad.
bad.
I don't
'Cause they were.
has-
They were
the-
genuinely all really
They
talented.
were all. They're all such like charismatic people, and they were just like playing like blocks of wood as characters in those
Has
movies.
the actor for Ray been in anything else?
She's been
She
in a
was
few indie things.
Murder on the Orient Express.
She was in that movie where the men can send their thoughts.
Yeah, she was in the Tom Holland.
What was that
Mind
even
Snake
called?
Movie.
Red something?
Chaos Walking.
Chaos Walking.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I think she's done voice work and stuff.
Ooh, they good. Fucking this.
Anyway, this looks pretty good, I guess.
Okay.
Apparently, it's based somewhat on like a real woman king.
That's cool. Some people might call that a queen, but, you know,
yeah.
No, Sam.
each their
women
own.
can be kings too.
Well, but
we call those queens.
No, they can be both, but men can't be queens.
Well, they can.
They can.
Yeah.
Everyone can be anything.
Exactly.
That's what
Cool.
we learned from this.
Yeah, kick that guy. He probably
Kick that
deserves
guy.
it.
Shoot that.
Ooh, that's a
Those are some
stab.
sharp nails.
That guy died.
no blood on her.
Not
All right.
hitting people.
Well, it looks cool. It looks like there's a lot of
Looks
fun
fun.
action going on.
I hope Viola Davis gets an Oscar.
A lot of good choreography for the fights. That's good to see.
I wonder who made it.
Viola Davis, apparently.
No, she's that.
Yep. No, it was
Sam.
her. Yeah, it was her. Solely alone.
She did it by herself. She edited it too.
She did all the CGI,
She was
all
like-
the choreography.
sitting
She was in a
this-
cave for years.
She was just like having like panic attacks because she just like didn't know how to work any of this stuff.
Learned how to use every visual
she,
effects
like-
software.
She's like an expert now. Director Gina Prince. Bythewood?
Coming into this.
Alrighty, moving on to the next
See
thing.
what she
James
done.
Cameron says that he might not
The Old
direct
Guard. Oh, okay. It's the
Avatar.
Old Guard director.
I remember
The
that movie
Netflix
being
movie,
announced.
Yeah.
I
That
don't.
one.
Okay, next
James
thing.
Cameron might not direct Avatars 4 and 5, and to
What a
quote, he
tragedy.
says, "I want to pass the baton to a director that I trust to take over, so that I can do other stuff that I'm also interested, or maybe not, I don't know." So he's not going to do that, and he will direct these movies.
He's made 2 avatars,
He can't help
dude.
himself.
How
He
are you
can't-
burnt out on 2
I
avatars?
don't know, Max. They've already written 4. So no, well, he shot 2. He shot 2 and 3. 3 is shot.
Yeah, but
But they're
75% of it is just
they have to do the
CGI.
9 years of VFX work.
Yeah.
On it.
Alrighty.
Cool,
James.
He said that his approach to these is like he's adapting novels,
But he's not,
but the novels don't exist.
so that's a dumb thing to say.
He's just writing the novels
I'm
while
making a
writing
movie,
the
but
script.
I'm pretending like I'm basing it off a
I don't
book.
know. I don't know.
What does that
man.
mean?
I don't know what these are. I don't know what they're supposed to be.
We don't know what the franchise
like the
is meant to be yet, because
Yeah.
there's only the one movie. So
It's a weird experiment in deciding a thing is a franchise
Before it's a
a
franchise.
franchise.
yeah. All right.
That's like if George Lucas made the first Star Wars movie and then he just went, I think I'm going to have to pass
I think
on
I'm gonna
the
write
baton."
6 more movies.
Well, it's like if
and-
he made the first one, and then he opened a theme park, and then he made Jedi Fallen Order, and then he made all of the prequels and episodes 5 and 6 at once.
but made them like he wrote all of them and
He
didn't
wrote all,
make any of
and
them.
then just kept shooting them for like 10 years endlessly.
Yeah. Moving on. The search for a new actor for James Bond hasn't begun yet, because the next iteration will be a reinvention of the character, and it will be around 2 years before filming even begins.
Okay, so they'll find a James Bond in the next year. And
I
then we'll
really,
start
I actually
think-
still hope it's John Boyega. I think he'd
yeah.
actually be a cool James Bond.
rumors of who it's going to be next year, and they'll probably write the script. And
They'll
Yeah.
get Harrison
they'll film
Ford.
the next year, and then we'll get probably 2025.
Yeah.
Will be the earliest.
Harrison Ford, new James Bond.
No, I'm rooting
He
for.
dies in the first movie.
I hope it's Boyega or I hope it's Cavill. I think those are my 2 picks.
Henry
I don't
Cavill
want
might
it
be
to
too
be
old
Cavill.
at that point.
That's what I'm worried. That's my.
I think he'd be a good James
That's
Bond.
my only concern with Idris Elba. Was I'd love him to do it, but
Yeah,
like,
Idris Elba would be good.
he's
for
like
him.
in his mid 50s
Yeah,
now. I think,
Yeah.
which is
Well,
like
how
yeah,
old was
well, you can
what's
do-
his name when he
Well,
started?
Craig was like late 20s when he started, but
Oh,
then
yeah.
he did it for like 15 years.
Tom Holland could do it, I guess.
No, I wouldn't know.
That's
Yeah, but he's
too
popular.
And I just
likely.
want. Can we keep the Tom Holland
stop?
people away
Can we
from
chill?
one thing?
Tom
been in
Holland,
too
I
many
love
things.
ya, but chill, dude. You should not
He's-
have been
He's
making.
taking
He's
a break
Peter
after
Parker.
He's doing like an Apple show, and then he's gonna take an acting break.
Yeah,
He's
And I'm glad about that because like I'm
too many
tired of
things.
freaking.
he's just Peter Parker in every movie he's
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
It's like
He needs to take a break and like grow a beard, and then they can't have him play kids anymore.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have to like be like, oh no.
Except Spider-Man.
He's
He'll still
kind of
play a
just
kid in Spider-Man.
typecast.
Sam, he'll
right
play
now.
Spider-Man until that blood contract runs out.
Alrighty. What's next? Dune 2.
has been delayed to November 17th, 2023. Despite the film beginning shooting this week, makes sense.
Yeah.
It
I
was
mean, yeah.
unrealistic. They were gonna.
It was
get this
that was
movie
an
out.
insane timeline.
Yeah, within 2 that was obvious. I think it's gonna get delayed further.
I
don't even think it's
would
gonna
very
make
well
that
believe
day.
that,
there's
yeah.
so much CGI that has to go.
The
into
Well,
this
yeah.
sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong will release in theaters March 15th, 2024. Cool.
It's
Great.
Godzilla versus Kong versus
Fun to
RoboCop.
keep in the back of
Sigourney
your head
Weaver.
there. Sigourney Weaver will play what is that?
Jake and Natiri's daughter
In Avatar 2.
So
Wait,
she-
huh?
So Sigourney Weaver is in her late 60s,
Uh-huh.
and she will be playing a teenage girl.
Uh-huh.
And she
Mom,
played
Why?
a character in the first
Yeah,
one.
she was the scientist.
But that character is dead, and now she will be playing
Remember
a
how
different
like the
character.
spirits become part of the tree? Did you watch Avatar?
Her spirit's gonna be in the
Yeah,
that
her
girl.
kid is gonna be their kid is gonna be have her spirit.
Sure,
Mom,
it's totally not 'cause
Dad,
Sigourney
I
Weaver and
need
James
my
Cameron
Our
are
friends. No,
and he
could
wants
not
to pay
be, no
her.
way. Why would you even assume that?
actor James Caan.
James Caan, known for his roles in beloved movies The Godfather, Misery, and Elf, has passed away at the age of 82. His family has given no cause of death so far.
Probably just natural causes.
Yeah,
That's
likely
not
natural.
good.
I mean, he was pretty up there, but
What
that's,
a good.
he's a very good actor. I
Wait,
love-
was that the
Elf is
the-
one of our favorite family Christmas
Was he the
movies.
dad in? Or
Yeah, he was the dad in Elf.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then obviously he was Sonny Corleone, and he was the author in Misery. I forget his name.
Yeah.
But just like a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, just in
That's
every
a
movie.
huge
Yeah,
loss. He was so good at everything.
very talented. R.I.P. James Caan. Alrighty, moving on to the current cut
Back
of
to
Avatar.
Avatar.
The current cut of
Yay.
Avatar is around 3 hours long. It will probably stay that length because
Yeah.
I think
why wouldn't
maybe
it?
they'll whittle it down to like
I
2:45.
really don't think they will.
Yeah.
But like,
I don't know. They'll just keep it at 3 hours.
how?
What do
How
you
is
cut?
there 3 hours worth of content in a franchise that apparently has 5 movies worth of story?
Maybe there's like 45
Well, the
minutes of
first one was
establishing
super long
shots.
too.
Yeah, it was like
Well,
like
the first
2
one
hour 40.
ends and then just keeps going until there's another ending. Because like the tree like explodes like 2 hours into the movie,
And then they have.
and then there's another hour with another climax for no
with
reason.
a different tree.
With a different tree.
All right.
All right.
Disney has changed the name of Jessica Jones TV series to AKA Jessica Jones.
So they went back. So this Netflix
Wow.
show that came out like 7 years ago,
Mhm.
it was on Disney Plus now, and they for some reason went back and changed the name of the show.
It's okay. Cool, Disney.
Why
fine.
not, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
They make such weird random decisions.
That was probably something that like was meant to be changed years
No, it's
ago,
'cause
but just
every-
like didn't they just
every
forgot?
episode of the show is AKA something.
Yeah,
And so I guess they were just like, we should change the name of the show. to
that'd be
that.
cool. Yeah, whatever.
But like, remember like a few months ago when they like went back and redid the VFX for Falcon and the Winter Soldier to be like more family friendly for no reason? Just like,
Well, they made a family friendly cut, but I don't know if it
yeah,
ever
but it
actually
never
went
like
anywhere.
really. It was just they
They just
They
made
were
a
gonna
thing.
do.
I
No,
think
they
it was
were
just
gonna do a
test.
bunch of
I
them.
think they just like play around with stuff and
Yeah.
they just hope no one notices.
But then they tell everyone,
But then-
so
but like this, they didn't like announce it. This
Yeah.
was just like something that just happened.
yeah, weird. Anyway, the first trailer for Hocus Pocus 2 reached 43.6 million views in the first 24 hours, which outperformed The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2, Book of Boba Fett, and Luca. Why?
People are big fans of Hocus Pocus.
Let me rephrase the question.
Why?
Nobody knows.
It's a mystery.
I think they are under a spell.
Maybe they
probably.
view botted.
I don't.
That actually could be the case. I don't know.
My question is, if it's that popular, why did they?
Why did it
Why
take
is this
this
not
long?
going to theaters?
That too.
Maybe
Yeah,
they'll change
this
it.
would
Maybe they'll
make
release
some
it to
pretty
theaters.
good money.
Yeah,
Especially
people
if it
would go.
releases around Halloween.
Because now
Yeah.
all the like 30-year-old moms will be like, "Oh, I went and saw that movie.
Yeah.
Come on,
Come
on, Timmy.
I think it's because the first
come on,
one. I don't-
Ocean. We're going to the theater."
I think the first one was like a box office bomb, and then it became popular like
Over
on-
time, yeah.
like on cable. But this one, it's got a like an established fan base now.
Yeah, people
Yeah, I
actually
don't
like
know.
that movie.
That's
Put
a
that
weird
out in late
decision.
September.
And now the actors for the witches don't have to wear
Raking
makeup.
a few
so-
bucks
True. All right.
because they're all.
They're
Yes,
all
they're all
actually
very
old
old.
now.
All right, it
We'll
is-
talk about Stranger Things next week.
It is
Yeah,
midnight.
another time. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show and watching the show. We, of course, are available in audio podcasts on Apple Podcasts,
Whenever
and
I remember
Spotify,
to
and
do
Google,
the
and
next, like 5
wherever
episodes.
else you find your audio podcast. If you want to watch the show, we're, of course, here on YouTube at the McDonCast. You can find clips of the show at the McDonCast Clips channel, which is linked in the description.
And as I said before, it's gamer
You can
time.
also follow us on Twitter at McDon Media
Alright, guys.
and Instagram at
Alright,
the
guys.
McDonCast, I think.
Yep.
It's all in the description, all of our links.
You know them.
Yeah, we'll
You
see
see
ya next week for something.
Stranger
Maybe
Things discussion.
Stranger Things.
Hopefully, if Patrick finishes the show.
Or
And
a
if we
bit
haven't
late.
forgotten
I
it
don't
by
think
then.
there's a movie coming out next week.
I
So
don't think so.
We'll just text
Thank God, we'll
Patrick
save
until
some
he
money.
watches it.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye bye. Wait a minute, I gotta hit the button. Bye bye.